Good morning, and welcome to your AIDailyPress morning podcast for May 23, 2026. I'm your host, Walter. Firstly, tensions between the US and Cuba continue to escalate, with the US maintaining a strict embargo on the island nation and tightening its blockade in recent months. The measures have led to widespread blackouts, food shortages, and discontent among Cubans, with protests erupting in the capital, Havana. China and Russia, both allies of Cuba, have condemned the U.S. actions, warning of potential aggression. In other news, Tulsi Gabbard has resigned as Director of National Intelligence, citing personal reasons to support her husband who is battling bone cancer. Her departure comes amidst ongoing controversy surrounding the Trump administration's military actions against Venezuela and the investigation into the 2020 election. Lastly, a recently announced $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund has sparked widespread outrage across the political spectrum. The fund, led by a 5-person commission appointed by the Attorney General, aims to compensate individuals who claim to have been unfairly targeted by law enforcement or government agencies. However, critics argue that the fund's provisions are too broad and could potentially reward those who have engaged in violent or illegal activities. These stories are developing and will continue to provide updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's clear that the international community is watching with bated breath as these situations unfold. We urge all parties involved to prioritize diplomacy and dialogue in resolving these deepening crises. And that's the way it is. Now, for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
Thank you, Walter. Firstly, in West Africa, we're monitoring a developing situation in Senegal where the delicate balance of power is shifting. We'll provide updates as more information becomes available, ensuring our coverage remains fair, balanced, and insightful. Secondly, the Trump administration has announced a new directive requiring most temporary visa holders and humanitarian parolees to return to their home countries to apply for and complete their green card applications. This policy change has sparked widespread concern among immigrant communities and advocacy groups who argue it will lead to family separations and have significant economic implications. Lastly, in a stunning turn of events, a federal judge in Tennessee has dismissed human trafficking charges against Kilmer Abrego Garcia, a Salvadoran citizen who was at the center of a high-profile deportation case. The decision highlights concerns about the use of prosecutorial power for political purposes and has been praised by immigration advocates and lawmakers. These stories will continue to unfold, and will provide in-depth analysis and updates as more information becomes available. For now, we invite our listeners to stay informed and engaged with the AIDailyPress. Now for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. Firstly, we've got a significant development in the U.S. economy with the new Fed chairman, Warsh, taking the helm amidst turbulent times. With inflation on the rise and consumer sentiment at a low, Warsh faces tough decisions to balance economic growth, interest rates, and navigate the complex interplay between these factors. In other news, we're seeing a crackdown on social media influencers in India who are allegedly manipulating stock prices for personal gain. SEBI is taking action against 7 entities accused of using their online clout to finagle profits from retail investors. This serves as a reminder to always do your due diligence before taking investment advice from anyone, especially those with a large following online. Lastly, there's growing concern about companies using AI as an excuse for layoffs and reduced hiring. While AI is indeed transforming the job market, experts argue that its impact on labor markets is more nuanced, with a disproportionate effect on entry-level roles. It's essential to separate fact from fiction and understand how AI is really affecting the workforce. Stay ahead of the curve with the AIDailyPress, and remember, in the world of finance, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Louis. Firstly, SpaceX has successfully launched its Starship program, with the company poised to play a significant role in shaping the future of space travel. The program aims to establish a sustainable presence on the Moon and beyond, with orbital refueling tests planned for later this year. In other news, the International Space Station is slated for deorbiting in the near future, and NASA is working to preserve its legacy. The agency is prioritizing what hardware and scientific data to bring back to Earth, with a focus on capturing the stories and experiences of those who built and operated the station. Finally, private space companies, Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic, are making significant progress in their respective space tourism ventures, posing a challenge to SpaceX's dominance in the market. The rivalry between these companies is expected to drive innovation and push the boundaries of space technology, with new guidelines for commercial spaceflights set to come into effect later this year. Tune into our full podcast for more in-depth analysis and discussion on these exciting developments in the space industry. Now for the latest in sports, here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. We've got 3 pivotal stories to dive into today. First off, the college football landscape could be on the verge of a significant change with the proposed expansion of the college football playoff to 12 teams. The SEC's stance is crucial here, and recent reports suggest that a majority of their coaches and athletic directors are in favor of the expansion. This development has the potential to create a more inclusive and competitive postseason format. Next up, we're talking about Manchester United's bold move in appointing Michael Carrick as their permanent head coach on a 2-year contract. Carrick's interim tenure was nothing short of impressive, with 12 victories from 15 matches and securing Champions League qualification ahead of schedule. The focus now shifts to the summer transfer window, where Carrick will look to bolster squad depth and design a rigorous pre-season program for a domestic title challenge and European campaign. Lastly, we touched on a developing story involving the potential expansion of the college football playoff. As conference commissioners and university presidents convene for meetings, all eyes are on the SEC's spring meetings in Destin, Florida, where this topic is likely to be a major point of discussion. The outcome will have significant implications for college football as a whole. That's your morning sports brief from the AIDailyPress. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Kuro.
Thank you, Howard. First, we reported on a significant development in the art world, where a Manhattan federal court found Daniel Sikkema guilty of orchestrating a murder-for-hire plot that led to the tragic death of his estranged husband, renowned New York art dealer Brent Sikkema. Our coverage not only delved into the details of the case, but also celebrated Brent's life and legacy as a champion of emerging artists. In other news, we took our listeners on a journey through time with the unveiling of the Kusuma Neolithic Hall, a historically accurate replica of a 400-500-year-old building at Stonehenge. This incredible project provides a unique window into the everyday lives of the Neolithic people who built this iconic monument. Lastly, we examine the impact of human relationships and actions in our society, highlighting the importance of addressing mental health and the consequences of our actions. We also reported on the story of immigration and its effects on local communities, as well as the latest developments in the art world. These stories and more are available on our website and through our daily news broadcasts. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan Streams.
Thank you, Charles. First up, let's talk awards season. The Tony Awards are just around the corner, and we got a sneak peek into what might happen thanks to the Drama Desk Awards. Think of it as a preview of the main event, darlings. I broke down the highlights and gave you my 2 cents on what to expect. Next, we're talking color in Hollywood, and how costume designer Shirley Kurata is shaking things up with her vibrant palette in the new movie I Love Boosters. This film is not just a visual feast, but also a commentary on the fashion industry's ills. Trust me when I say it's a must-see. And finally, we're still reeling from the glamour of the Cannes Film Festival. From Demi Moore to Bella Hadid, the red carpet was on fire. But what really caught my eye was the men's fashion, Coleman Domingo in that purple Valentino cape ensemble. Absolutely stunning. We're still waiting to see who'll take home the coveted Palme d'Or, but one thing's for sure, this year's festival has been a wild ride full of twists, turns, and unforgettable fashion moments. Stay fabulous, and remember, a girl should be 2 things, who and what she wants. Now, for the latest in nature and environment, here is David Attenacher.
Thank you, Joan. Firstly, in the world of technology, a recent incident has exposed vulnerabilities in the AI coding tool ecosystem. Researchers have demonstrated how stolen credentials can bypass automated verification processes, emphasizing the need for robust security protocols and cooperation within the industry to address these emerging threats. In the realm of paleontology, a groundbreaking discovery has been made at Southern Methodist University and the Perot Museum, where researchers have identified a new species of mosasaur, an ancient marine reptile that ruled the oceans with ferocity. This find not only sheds light on the complex dynamics of ancient ecosystems, but also serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of conservation efforts to protect modern marine ecosystems. Lastly, in a harrowing incident in New Mexico, first responders were exposed to fentanyl while investigating a possible overdose, resulting in tragic consequences. The incident highlights the dangers posed by illicit substances and the risks faced by emergency personnel when responding to potential overdose situations. As the investigation continues, our thoughts are with the families of the victims and the first responders who risked their lives to respond to this emergency situation. These stories underscore the importance of awareness, cooperation, and conservation in addressing emerging threats and protecting our planet's natural wonders. We'll continue to provide updates and expert analysis on these stories as they unfold. And that completes our morning podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until this evening, I'm David Attenacher for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.